Hello, everybody.
Hello. I love our tight little group here. It's great because if you've gone to any of the other, the full-time course, those classes can be a little unwieldy. 50, 60 students, I think, on average. So I like our team. I know who you all are. Okay, so today we are going to continue on our journey with React. So let me get started. Share screen. This one. Okay. Super. Hold on, let me just move the schedule. Let me move that. So as I was mentioning to some of your fellow students earlier, I make a living building React apps, and it's so I have a lot of experience with this. So I think today what we are going to do is we're going to build an app. We're just gonna start from fresh, and we're going to build an app. It's going to be a pretty easy app. Not going to be too difficult. We're not going to connect to an API. I was thinking of it, but I've decided against it. Maybe if there's time later, we'll connect it to an API, but for the time being, I'm just going to add some static data. So let's get started. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to run, hold on, not that. I'm going to run npx app, and we're going to call this, what should we call this? We should call this Mortytron. And the reason I'm calling it Mortytron is because the data that I found, oh, right, no capitals. The data that I found was from the Rick and Morty API. So you don't have to know anything about Rick and Morty. It's fine. If you do, you know, it'll be a little bit funny. Like all my humor, a little bit funny. So I'm going to run create React app. And it's going to, just as I did last week, it's going to install everything. Please interrupt me and ask questions today, because this is very much reinforcing what we taught you last week. Okay, there, installed. Super, so let's go into Mortytron. I'm going to open up my editor. And I'm going to do this the way that I would normally build an app for real. So the first thing I'm going to do is tidy up all of the files and such that I'm not actually going to be needing for this application. So let me show you what I mean. So here in the index.js, we've got this report web vitals. I'm not planning on using that, so I'm just going to delete it. I am going to delete that. I'm going to delete the index.css. There we go, much cleaner. I'm going to come over to here. And since I'm no longer importing report web vitals, I am going to delete that. I'm also going to delete setup tests, because I'm not going to do tests today. However, you should always do tests in production. And I'm going to delete that logo. I'm going to come into app.js, And we're just going to get rid of everything in there. As I did last week, I really like putting in @ dash header the styles. Let me just make sure I'm doing it the right way. Yep, @ dot header the styles. And okay, and let me get rid of this test file. Since I got rid of the tests, I can get rid of that. So much cleaner, much cleaner. Also for this README, I am going to delete everything because that README is just a README for Create React App, which is going to be created every time. So what I want to do is actually create a README for my Mortytron. So I'm just going to put in a header for now, Mortytron. Okay, next thing. I always do this. I always create a components folder for all of my components. Okay, and something I really like to do is I like pulling in the app.js and supporting files into that folder. So I've now put them one level deeper. Now I also need, because I've moved the files, I need to change where I'm looking for them. So let's do that. Okay, and also let's rename that to app.jsx. Okay, so this is just something that is a good idea. This is the default that I like. The default that you like may be different. The team that you end up working with eventually may want to do things in a different manner, and they're not wrong. I love to say during planning meetings that I don't care what the standard is, as long as there's a standard. So let's go from here. All right, I've got it all, and let's start her up and make sure it runs. So, oh, don't need that. All right. So let's go to the terminal. And I'm going to do a npm start. And that's fine. I'm always running multiple versions of React apps. All right, so let's come over here. Let me just pull this over. All right. So here is our app. Because I left in the styling, it's got the gray background, but why is there a white? Why is there white all around here? Anybody want to hazard a guess? Why is there white all around my big gray box?
It's the default margins of the body and HTML.
You, sir, get the prize. Not that there's an actual prize, but if there was a prize, you would get the prize. So let's fix that. Let's go into index.css. All right, well, you know what? I should have just kept this in here because this is a really good default. Let's get rid of this code because I'm not going to put any code in. All right, let's take this and put it in app.css. That should get rid of, yep, it did. And now I can get rid of that file.
Why are there always two default CSS files?
That is the just the decision that the people who made Create React App decided. App is a component that lives within the rest of the app. If you turn off JavaScript completely, all of the styles that come in through the index.css should still work. Actually, no, they wouldn't work because of modules, but it's just a way of segmenting things up. So yes, the entire app will live within my app component because everything's going to be a child of the app component, but that is just a default that they made.
Because I think that the index isn't even linked to the HTML file. Is that right? By default, or?
That is correct. If we come into here, which is the public folder, where this is where the actual index.html lives, you can see that the script has not been added, and Create React Tap behind the scenes actually adds the script tag for you, so you don't actually have to worry about it when we run the build or dev phase. All right, let's put in a title for our app. I'm going to put in H1, call it 40 Tron 3000. Why not? There we go. We've got a Mortytron 3000. Okay, let me just make sure I'm hitting all of the points that I need to hit here. Right. So the next thing I want to do is pull in the data that I'm going to use. So rather than connect to an external API, I am just going to create a new folder inside source. I'm going to call it data. Okay. And what I'm going to do inside my data folder is create a new file called, we'll just call it data.json. Pull it in JSON format. What is JSON format? Can somebody tell me?
JavaScript object notation.
That's correct. It looks a lot like a JavaScript object. And that's how it's actually going to be pulled into the app. But there are some slight differences. You can't put comments in here. Everything that's a property name must be in quotes, whereas in JavaScript, that's not necessary for objects. Okay, super. So I have this information, and once again, I got it from rickandmortyapi.com. It's free to play with because, hey, why not? All right. And let's go here. So how do we want this app to work? What I think we're going to do is we're going to create a list of Rick and Morty characters. We're going to show the name of the character along with an image of the character and some information about the character, because I'm pretty sure I can get all of that from this information that I pulled in. Yeah, so Rick Sanchez, human, origin Earth, location, Citadel of Ricks, and here's an image URL. Super, so I should be able to do. And for some strange reason, they decided to say that Rick is in every single episode. Of course he's in every single episode. It's Rick and Morty. Any case, never mind. All right, so what is the best way to do this? So what I think I want to do is I want to create a component for the list of characters. Makes sense, right? So I am going to, I'm just going to ask, how should I go about creating a component and attaching it to my app.js folder file? Anyone?
Should create a sub file for it.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'm going to go into the components folder, create a new file, call this file list of .jsx. Okay, awesome. I like using long names because there's no way you're going to confuse lists of characters for something else. If I just said list characters or list, that might not be as straightforward. Okay, so I've got list of characters.jsx. What should I put in this file?
Sorry, just an aside. JSX files, that's just for the code editor, is it? Or
JSX, the code editor recognizes JSX files as React. So if I actually come down here, you see right at the bottom here, it says JavaScript React. If I come over to index.js, it just says Babel JavaScript. The difference here is that a JSX file, it understands that there is JSX within that file. Index.js, well, in this case, it too has JSX in the file, but it's not required to. So we're just going to, I like explicitly saying that files that have any JSX in it, I like to put the .jsx on it. Notification to me, notification to the code editor. All right, and now, Sean, that I've answered your question, what should I be typing in here?
You have to import React.
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
I thought you had to on
Well,
all of your component
well,
files.
somebody lied to you.
Okay.
So
You can ask somebody else then.
all right. So all right, until 3 months ago, that was correct.
Oh, wait, yes, I knew this. I've just been
Yes.
used to putting it into all my files
Yeah.
just because that's how
You
it's
know
been
what?
done in our...
It doesn't hurt anything. So there's no reason to not. And sometimes you may want to have React. I personally remove anything that I don't need. And then if I need to import something, I will explicitly import that. Okay, here is my list of characters. Super. How do I bring my list of characters into my app.jsx? And I'm going to ask Nico. I may change my mind if you like. I saw the big puff of air.
You have to bring in the data. And it is you require it?
I'm going to import it. So,
oh, right, it's the same, but different, yeah.
Right, so you can use either import or require syntax, but they're not compatible with each other. So because Create React App uses import by default, I'm just going to continue on using that syntax, and that's fine. So let's import. I'm going to import the list of characters from the file list of characters on JS. Oh, VS Code, you make my life so easy. Okay, and I'm just going to get rid of semis because I don't like
I have a quick question.
Go for it.
So when you say import list of characters from list of characters, right? So the
Yeah.
first list of characters, does it have to be the same name as your file name, or can it be a different name?
That is an excellent question. So there is something I can, normally you just keep the same name, and in actuality, I would always use the same name. However, if for some reason you want to use a different name, you can say list of characters as character list. And then, I believe that will work. Oh, it doesn't like it. Oh, that only works when there, that'll work, but that's not really what, it's not a best practice. So I'm instead going to just pull in list of characters. Okay, and Anjali, since you asked me a question, I'll ask you a question. How do I render my list of characters into this page?
We'll be putting it inside the div after h1 tag.
Okay, super. So what do I type in here?
So you'll put the angle bracket list of characters,
Yep.
and then you can close it by slash, yeah.
Great. All right. Everything went white in the background, so that's that might mean there's an error. Hold on, let me check. It's not giving me an error. Hold on. Let's come over here. Console. Okay, there we go. Element type is invalid. Expected a string. That's weird. Element type is a string. Built-in components. Import list of characters from. Let me just. What am I doing wrong? See, if I remove that, that's fine. So importing list of characters, let's come back over here. Oh, I forgot to save something. Okay, great, it works. So list of characters, so you might think, well, why don't I just put in a bunch of character components underneath the list of characters? And it's, again, it's a best practice. Try and factor things into the smallest possible unit, or at least practical unit. So I have this list of characters. Let's go into the list of characters. Okay, so here I don't want to just have a list of characters. I want to actually render a list. So a list, it's going to be an unordered list. And just for the time being, I'm going to put in li, and I'm going to put Rick. No, not that. And I'm going to put another li, Morty. All right, so just want to make sure that everything is rendering properly. There we go. Everything is rendering properly. So that is fantastic. But I don't want to have everything hard-coded in here. I want to pull it in with the data. So let's come over here. So I'm going to pull in the data into this particular component. I'm not going to put it in app because I don't need it in app. I'm going to put it in the highest, the lowest level that I can, where I need it. So if I needed it in other components that were directly off of app, I could then take the state and do what we call raising the state. We could take it from one component and move it into another component. So let's import data from, and we're going to do /data/data. I think that should work. Hold on. Module not found. What did I do wrong? Oh, data.json. Can't resolve. And why is that? Because path. There we go. So now I've pulled in the data. The data exists. I can't see it, but it exists. What should I do with this data so that I can use it within my React app? Todd, I'm going to ask you.
I guess there's one of two things we could do. We can set it as a state, or we can just import it as props.
So excellent. Actually, we could do either of those things. I am going to bring it in as state, because I think state is the best way to run this. So how do I put it into state?
You call the, well, first you have to import the useState method from React.
Yeah, excellent.
And then we call useState, and using destructuring, we assign data to two variables. One, I guess we could call list of characters, and the other one we could call set list of characters, perhaps, or set. Maybe it should be set char. I'm not sure. I haven't thought it through, but
it's fine. It's fine. Naming things is the hardest thing in coding, is trying to figure out what to call something. So let's do this. I'm going to create a const. It's an array, and actually we're going to say characters, and then set characters.
I just have a question.
Go for it.
About the choice of array. I mean, to me, I just wanted to validate my thinking on this, because to me it makes sense, because we are working with a list of names of characters. And so therefore it's like, if you want to add or remove, that's like the main importance to it, as opposed to like picking out a specific, I guess like quality or whatever for like, like needing to use a key for the objects. And so that is the correct. I just want to know that I'm following correctly.
Yep. No. Yes. So there's a couple things we can do. I'm going to follow the shape of the data that I'm getting from, because I'm imagining that eventually I'm going to attach this to the API. So let's have a look at the shape of the data. The shape of the data opens with the curly brace. So that means I'm actually getting an object from the API. The object has two properties. The first property, and let me just close these just so it's a little more clear. So the two properties are info and results. Info is another object that has 4 properties. Okay, that's fine. The results, though, are an array. And this is the data that I'm looking for. So it is going to be an array. Now, I should mention here in list of characters, this has to be an array. And let me show you, this is an alternate syntax for that, okay? So I can say const character equals use state 0. Oh, wait, no, it's, I have to invoke it and then call on 0. All right, and then I can do const set. Okay. Does this help? So use state here, when you run use state, it provides you with an array. The output of use state, the function, is an array. Always will be. So it has to be an array. So when I destructure it, I must destructure it as an array. Does that make sense, Holly?
Yes.
Yes? Awesome. All right. So when you run use state like this, you must put in the initial state that you want to save in here. So what should I put in here? What's the initial state of this app going to be?
Just the database array.
So if I put data here, let's just go back to data.json. What is data equal to? It's
You'd
equal
want
to
use
this
the
object.
results, right?
Right. So I want to pull off the results property of that. So data.results. Okay. All right. My app hasn't crashed. That's always a good sign. Let's have a look here. Now, debugging or troubleshooting React. Troubleshooting is a key skill. I think we've all learned that by now. You need to learn how the flow of the program works so that you can investigate. There is a plugin for all browsers. This is Firefox, but it is also in Chrome. And this plugin provides 2 new tabs. Now, I'm not going to go into Profiler at all. That's kind of advanced, but I'm going to go into this Components tab. And this is the React Dev Tools. So I'm going to recommend that everybody do a search on the Chrome App Store or the Firefox App Store, whichever one. If you use Opera, by the way, good on you. But here it's going to actually show me the hierarchy of components that are in my app. So let me highlight both of these. So not only that, but it also shows where that app is on the screen when you mouse over it, which is really handy. So the app is the entire thing. That makes sense. The list of characters are just this list of names that I have here. But the reason I'm coming here right now is because of the state. I want to see what the state looks like. So here we have the state. We've got 20 items in our array. Let's open up one of the items. And we see that each item is an object that has a number of properties, one of which is name. Cool. Okay, so let's go back to the app. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to list all of the names that live in the state here in my app rather than Rick and Morty hard-coded. So I'm going to remove Rick and Morty hard-coded. I'm going to get rid of the second LI completely. So what should I do to render each name of each character that lives in the state right now? Even without returning it here, let's do something else. Let's actually put in a console log statement. Let's do a console.log. And I'm going to put in characters. Now, this should not surprise anybody. But if I come back to the console, I get the entire list of characters here. Great. So what if I want to see each individual character one at a time? What's the best way for me to do that?
You can make a new list of just the names, and then React should, if you pass the list to the
Okay.
component, it should render all of them.
Okay. That's
I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure? Okay. I could. So you're recommending that I mutate the list so I just get the names out of the list?
Yeah, just make like a new, like use map, or one of the
Okay.
map would work well.
That is excellent. All right, let's use map. Okay, so what I'm going to do is do characters.map. And then I am going to say character, and this is, I'm going to take the character object and I'm going to return a character.name. And then I am going to assign it to a variable name. So let's do const. Yes, I still can't type. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to console.log the character names instead. Okay, and let's come back over here. And yep, I've got a list of names, so that's pretty cool. But that's not, I don't think that's the best way for me to do that. So are you going to recommend that I do what? So how do I render a list in React?
We can just put curly braces in the list and put character names.
Yep. All right. You mean what?
Yeah.
Like
Inside this list.
inside this list item? Come back here. Well, that definitely listed all the names. Not exactly in the way I wanted to. So let's do something a little bit different. Let's put the map inside React itself. So this map that we have up here, I'm going to pull it into React. So let's do this. And because I am rendering an HTML a JavaScript. Yeah. I'm rendering this, an expression. There we go, JavaScript expression. I have to put it in curlies. So I'm saying that, okay. And instead of character.name, just the name, which is going to produce the exact same thing as I had before. So let me just comment that out and delete that extra UL. Okay, and if I come back here, I get the same thing. It's not a list item anymore, but that makes sense. So I want to put this character name string inside a list item. So how would I do that?
You would start to, inside the callback for map, you would start to generate an li element for each record.
Yep. I think I know what you mean. So you mean if I do this and this, that should work. Red's never a good color. Not quite exactly what I need. So I need to put this character name. Now that I'm using JSX, I need to use another JavaScript expression. So I'm going to put this into another pair of curly braces. There we go. I've got a list of names. Now, I'm still getting this warning though. Each child in a list should have a unique key prop. So let's come back here and add a key prop. So it's got to be a prop. It's got to be called key. And what should I set that to?
Character.id. So
Yep.
Do we have one? Okay.
Well, let's have a look. Yep, we've got an ID. I'm going to assume that that ID is unique. So let's do that. Okay, and if I refresh this, that error goes away. Super. All right. Now we're cooking with gas. We've got an app running. We've got our list. We have our key. Let's go back and have a look at the component structure and see how it differs. All right. So we still have the state here, and it's being passed into the list item individually. Okay, but I'm also not just passing the name, I'm passing the entire object. So I have access to all of these properties inside of that list item. So I think the next thing I want to do is I want to factor out each of these list items, and I want to make that into its own component. So, Allison, any idea how I would approach that?
Well, there's making a new file called character.
Okay, I like it. Okay, let's go over to this character.jsx. I'm just going to do a quick RFCE. I'm going to get rid of that import React because it's the way I like it. And okay, so this is going to be our character component. I'm not going to do anything else to it right now. How do I use that component inside here?
You would have to import it, I guess, is the first thing.
Okay, let's do that. So we're going to import character. Am I spelling character correctly? I'm having that moment where I look at a word and all of a sudden I don't know if it's spelled correctly or not.
It's good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. My mom had the superpower that she could spell every word correctly. She never misspelled a word. In any case, it was my mom's birthday this past weekend. Okay, super. So we've got this character. Okay, so now I want to use character instead of this li. So take it home for me, Allison. How am I going to use character instead of li?
Well, the list item would probably be in the character component. And so here you just be calling the character
Okay.
component.
All right, so let me change this to character. All right, it's not happy with me, but that's okay because I'm not finished with everything. Yeah, errors, so that's good. So I do need to pass in a prompt. So let's call this character equals. Okay, so I'm using the word character an awful lot here, and I'm keeping it straight in my head because I know what's going on here. So what does this word character, or sorry, here, let's do this. Characters, this is the list of characters that we have up here. Okay, what does this word character mean? Joe, what does this word character mean?
It's referring to the const that you had for use state character.
Yeah,
Or...
this is an individual member of this characters array. So I'm going to go through this array and it's going to run this callback for each member of the array. And I'm calling that callback, it's going to be the character. Okay. Next up, what's this character?
That's the one you're importing?
Yes, this is the component. What does this character here mean? Holly, you can tell me.
We're talking about the after character.id character.
Yeah, we're talking about this one right here.
I got the last two right. This one I feel stumped on.
Okay. I am creating a prop called character. And then I'm assigning the value of character. What is the value of this character? It's this. Because I'm mapping through this array. This array has a number of objects. And then I am just passing in that object as a character prop into this character. And kind of interesting, I'm passing this in inside the character component. So this is actually the character name from this character object. Does anybody have any problems with that? All right. I'm assuming silence means that Everybody
No, I
knows
have a
what's
question.
going on. Okay, Sean. ask.
I just like, to me, that all of this doesn't really make it's too convoluted. Obviously, this character component thing is going to be built in its own
Yep.
component, which we're bringing in, which is fine. And then we're clearly then at that point we can get rid of character.id, correct? Because we have the props in there. We're using the character, which is bringing
So
the character
this is
name,
one of
right?
those weird cases where I actually do need to have this key prop. So I need to pass in a
Yes.
prop called key. React is looking for a prop called key, so it must be called key. And
Okay.
it must be a unique identifier for the object that I'm passing in. So in this case,
couldn't you just use character name though? Character
I could.
name versus ID, because that just makes it, because now you're using ID and the name, but you
Yep.
don't need both. You could
Well,
just
I'm
use,
passing in the entire character as well.
right. Okay, cool. Yep.
So everything's getting passed down.
You need character name though. If you're passing in the entire character, you can just pull the name out later. No?
I could absolutely do that. I'm going to leave it like this just because.
This looks like a mess. There's too many characters. Like, I would never name it like
There are too
this.
many characters in Rick
Yes.
and Morty. Yes, I agree.
No, I mean the word character. Like, this is like,
Yes.
yeah.
So, okay, let's change it up. We'll call it not soon. We're going to call it tune. Okay. So now that I've changed this to tune, I can come over here and I can change that to tune. We can call this tune. And we could call this tune. This character here, I can rename it to tune prop. Okay. Does this help? No? I renamed everything. So now each character means something else.
Just keep it as character. I think when you strip this out into its own component and then just bring it in as character, it'll just be way easier to.
Okay. I agree.
I didn't realize you were just gonna rename everything the same name again, but I understand what everything is. It's just.
Yeah. No, there. I understand. I once one class would have thrown things at me because I used another word like 22 different times and it confused the heck out of them. So, but thank you for bringing that up. I do want to make sure that everybody is cool with what everything means. Okay, fantastic. Let's go into our character component. All right, this is the default for my character component. So I'm passing in some props into this character component. I'm passing in this key prop. Now I'm not going to need that key prop inside the component. That's just so that React can identify it itself. I don't need it. But I do need this prop. I do need this character prop. So let me come over here. How would I access that character prop inside this component? So I'm passing it in. What do I need to do in order to identify that?
Is this where we define prop as a parameter?
Yes, Holly, give yourself a gold star. Okay, I can put in prop right here. I'm passing in a parameter. It's called prop. Now, look at this. This is a function. This is like any other JavaScript function. It's returning a value. It's taking an argument. Okay, so let's turn that argument into something we can use. So instead of character here, well, first of all, what can I change that into, Holly? Here's a hint.
H1, oh no. Oh, UL.
So UL is surrounding. What does a UL surround?
To be honest, when you've been using that, and I'm like, oh, I gotta review my HTML because
Unordered list. So I need to put everything inside into a list item. Okay, great. So let's have a look. Let me save that. Okay, it's saying the word character. That doesn't surprise me because I have the word character in here. Okay, so now instead of the word character, I want to put in the name. So how do I do that?
Could you do prop.name?
Yep, or props.name, sure. Or prop.name in this case, yes. Here, let's change that to props. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to create another JavaScript expression. A JavaScript expression is a piece of JavaScript code that returns a value. So in this case, prop.name, props.name is the value. Okay, and it's not there. Why isn't it there?
We don't have a prop called name, right? In list of characters.
That is correct. We don't have a prop called name. We are passing in a prop called character. So what if I change this from name to character? Will this work?
So this would, I think, give us whole object.
Yeah, and React is very unhappy when you pass it an object. It doesn't know how to render an object. So what do I need to do to change it just so we can see the character's name?
Dot result dot name.
No. All right, let's come over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to console.log the props dot character. Okay, so I'm still getting errors because I'm trying to render. So here, let's just for the time being, we're going to return nothing. Okay, so now I'm console.logging each of these. Each of these is an object, and that object has a name property. So what I need to do is I need to pull off the name. Just make sure I'm not lying to you. I'm not. That's great. So in here, I can just put props.character.name. I am going to put that there. And there we go. We now have a list of names of Rick and Morty characters. How awesome is that? Okay, that feels like a good time for a break. Can we come back?
Can I just ask a quick question?
You may.
Wouldn't you normally put, so like if we go back to our app.jsx, like, oh, we stripped everything out. Sorry.
List of characters?
Yeah. Wouldn't this, actually, never mind. No, we're good.
I love it when I have to do absolutely nothing to make you understand what's going on.
No, that's cool. That's
okay,
cool.
awesome.
Awesome. I thought all of this code was in the app.jsx code, and I was like, wouldn't we move all that complicated code into our character? But yeah. Sorry, I just had the file names mixed.
Yeah, I'll talk about that after the break. So let's meet back at, let's take a 15-minute break, 2:45. Okay, see everybody in 15.
Hey, John, it's Todd. I have to cut out about 20 minutes early today to pick up my son, if that's okay. I can always, I guess, watch the last 20 minutes later, if that's cool with you. Thanks. I can't hear you right now, actually. I don't know.
Sorry, it's turned off my,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
you can
Makes sense.
absolutely do that.
Awesome.
I'm going to recommend that you watch the video.
Yeah.
And, oh, and I have no power to tell you you can't pick up your son. And I don't want that power either, so.
No, I know. I just want to make sure I'm not, violating lighthouse guidelines or something.
I've not been told to take attendance, so I'm not.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no, this is great. I get to do all the fun part of teaching and
Yeah,
all
not
the other stuff.
Yeah. I figure I better go pick him up. It's raining pretty hard right now, and he's walking home from school. So yeah.
Such a sweet dad.
Yeah, he's gotten used to me picking him up now, which is unfortunate.
Yes.
Yeah, gotta get him back into walking.
I had my kid had the same problem. Got used to getting picked up.
And in the morning too, his schedule has gotten later and later, where he doesn't even leave himself enough time to walk to school anymore. So I of necessity, I have to. Yeah.
Oh, kids.
Yeah.
So when you have a child, you look down at them and you think, how will I help form this person into the adult they'll be? You don't realize how much they change you into the person you are going to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
All right, everybody. So let us continue with our amazing app. I'm having a lot of fun. I always have fun, but you know that. All right, so we've got our character. It's a bit boring though. Let's do something more with it. So first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this word props here because I keep repeating myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the word props with, hold on, with and that means I could get rid of everything else that says props. So I'm destructuring the object that I'm passing in, and I'm pulling out the property of that object called character. Okay. What other properties does that object have? That's going to be kind of interesting. Let's actually go back to before. And instead of console.logging props.character.name, let's just console.log props. So I just want to have a look. So let's have a look at the first one. So props is an object. It has a character property and a property called children, which has the string Rich Sanchez. Let's have a look. Why is that? Why do I have this property called children? I didn't add it. Right? I haven't used the word children in here. So can somebody tell me why I have a property called children?
You're passing it into the object, like in between the tags, right?
Passing it into the object. Yes, I am passing in the character.name as the child. So because regular HTML, you could surround things with tags, you could still surround things with tags inside JSX. Here, I'm surrounding character.name inside of that. Is it necessary? No, but I did it to show that, yes, everything you pass in, you can retrieve with using the child or children prop. So I'm going to leave that as is because I kind of like that. All right, so here, that means, and let me just change this back to the way I had it. So I'm going to remove this, remove that, and destructure character. And I'm going to get rid of that because I don't need it. And then I could put prop stat character name, or sorry, just character name, or I could put what inside here and have the same thing show up. Gottfried.
You can use props.children.
Or I could just use children.
Oh yeah.
But I have to pass in children.
So in the parameter for character,
Yeah.
could you use the spread operator on props and then just have all the properties available to you?
So you're saying something like ... character? Not quite. I can't.
Or on props. Or wait,
props.
no, you're passing down character, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Props is just something I gave a name to. I got an object and I decided to give it an object once it was passed to me. It's kind of vice versa. All right, now that we're using this, let's go back and have a look at the React Dev Tools. And this is a bit different. Now you can see, again, the structure of the app. Each is a character component. The character props are shown here with character and children. So this is really useful for troubleshooting. Once again, I can come and have a look at all of my components in my app and have a look at how they all interact with each other. So I could see that this is being rendered by list of characters, and list of characters that's up here, and this is being rendered by app, and app is the top level component. So highly recommend using React Dev Tools. It will save your life eventually, or if not your life, at least your sanity. Okay, let's change this up a bit. Let's, instead of just having it render a name, let's have it render an image with the name in a, say, an H2 tag on top of it. Okay, you could, so I'm imagining Rick Sanchez and then a picture of Rick, and then Morty Smith and a picture of Morty. Okay, so how do I do that? Any ideas? Come on, somebody has an idea.
Just create a parent element inside your return. Could be an empty set of tags or a div tag. And then within those, I would add an H2 and an image tag.
Okay. So let's do that. I am actually...
Sorry. Yeah, you want to keep the LI?
I'm going to keep the LI because it doesn't matter what's surrounding it as long as there's one thing surrounding it. So the LI is fine. So let's put this inside an H2. And let's move that to the end. I never understand how my copy and paste works. Okay, never mind. and slash. All right, so let's have a look at the app. All right, those look like H2s to me. I want to get rid of these dots. Any ideas of how I should do that? It's a CSS thing. So I could go into the CSS here because the app CSS deals with all the CSS in the app. So anything that lives below this app, I can access. But what I'm going to do, not because it's the most efficient way to do it, but because this is an example, I'm going to create a character.css. Same way we've got app.css here. And I don't have to, but I'm going to use uppercase because that's the convention that already exists. Okay, so I have here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say any li. Anybody remember what the rule that I need to change is to remove those disks?
Disk style type none.
You got it, Pontiac or Anjali. All right, so I've added the rule, and let's just go into character.jsx and import. So I'm going to import slash character.css, capital C, please. Which I always love checking what exists there. They're importing app.css and I'm importing character.css. Let's see if that worked. It did. Okay, awesome. Next thing, let's put the image underneath. We're getting close to having a real app that does real things. This is great. So let's go to character.jsx. All right, so I believe Todd mentioned I should put an image tag. All right, so with this image, I need a source equals, and I'm just going to put in an empty expression for a moment. And I also have to have an alt. Why do I need an alt tag in an image?
Accessibility.
You got it. All right, so let's put something. What do I put into the source here? Let's have a look at the data again. So each object has a property called image, which looks like the string to an image. Okay, let's pop that into our component. Okay, so right here, what do I put in?
Character dot, sorry, character
Okay.
dot image.
All right, and what should I put in for the alt tag? I'm gonna put character dot name, I think. Because that's what it is. It's an image of the character.
Would you not
Okay.
put the word image if someone would like character.name image or?
I could here. Let's do, and we'll do, oh no, wait, it doesn't like that, does it? So let's say image of run the whole thing with quotes. Redundant alt attribute.
Sorry,
Already
you can go back
announced-
to just character.name. That's fine.
Yeah, all right. It's telling me I don't need to put the words image out. There we go. Yes. So the screen reader will say image of.
Of course, yeah.
In any case. All right. Who thinks this is going to work? Hands up. Give me a hand if you think it's going to work. Holly, Joe, Nico. Okay, looks like most of you. We have an app that works. I am very happy that, oh, Aberdolf Winkler. You know, perhaps I should not have used Rick and Morty as my example, but in any case, Antenna Rick doesn't have an image, oh no. If you've not seen Rick and Morty, it's like being drunk while watching television, even if you're not drunk. And if you've never been drunk, good on you. All right, in any case, last thing I want to do with this app, I want to give it some actual functionality. So how am I going to actually do that? So let's think about the functionality that we want to give. Let's make it so that when I click on the image, the very top of the page, underneath, here, where are we? So yeah, underneath Mortytron 3000, I want to have the sentence, when I click on Rick Sanchez is from Earth C-137, where whatever it said next to his, or what was it, origin? Let's see, there we go. It is, there we go, origin.name. Okay, super. So I want to pass in a string. Now, I don't want to have it underneath Rick. I want to have it under Mortytron 3000. So does somebody want to give me an idea of how I can do that? No?
Well, you're going to replace the list of characters with
I'm not going to replace, I'm just going to put a new, a string right here. So Rick Sanchez is from Earth C-137.
So on top of the list of characters, we're going to add that.
Okay.
And make it hidden at first.
All right. So what component do I need to be in? Do I need to be in the list of characters component?
I think
the app.
All right. Well, let's go to app. Okay. So right under Mortytron 3000, I'm going to put in a p tag. And inside here, just for now, I'm just going to put placeholder text. I love putting in text that and then replacing it later. So we're going to say Rick. All right, let's just go back. Great. So when I click on Morty, I want to see Morty comes from, and then so on and so forth. All right. So where should this information live? I'm passing the information, it's originating in list of characters because I'm importing the data here. However, I want this to show up in the app component. So any ideas of how I'm going to approach this problem?
Can we bring that import data to the app?
Yep,
and
we could.
then we can pass it as a prop or on click to the list.
We could. I think that we don't have to. And if I don't have to do something, I don't want to do it. So I'm going to create a piece of state. And we're going to call this saying. And we're going to set it to use state, and I'm going to give it a default. Okay, super. So I now have, I love VS Code for giving me all these errors. So I need to import use state. I'm just going to do quick. No, it won't let me do that. Oh, well, never mind. All right, so got rid of that one. And now I want to have the saying appear here. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to delete it and I'm going to replace it with an expression. What's the expression going to be? It's going to be the saying. All right, let's go back, have a look. Where are they from? Great, the saying showing up. So now I just need a way of changing it. Now, I already have this function set saying that lives here at this level. So what I can do is I can pass this function down to a child component. Which child do I need to send it to?
Eventually, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, list of characters.
Okay, so I'm going to say saying equals saying. Everybody cool so far? And I should say set saying. Okay, so I am now taking this function and I'm passing it down to list of characters. I cannot access it yet in the character component because only its parent knows about it. So let's go into list of characters. How would I pass in that prop?
Add another key value pair to the character component in the callback for the map method.
Okay. So you want me to put what? Set saying?
You're going to have to, I guess, destructure the set saying from the props like you did for the other.
Yep. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So let's do that here. Okay, so far so good. All right, so let's go now down to character. And let's just have a look once again at the props. Good, I've got set saying at the list of characters level. So now I just need to pass it in. Oh, look at this, function bound dispatch action. So it looks like I've already got this. How do I have that? That's interesting. And that's because it knows that I've got a list here. Oh, here we go. It's looking for set saying. So I'm passing it into the character and I've got the character. So now I want to use it. And I'm going to do this. So what I'm doing is I'm passing the prop down multiple levels. I'm passing the prop down from the app to the list of characters down to the individual character. And if I had more components underneath that, I would have to pass it even further. There are ways around that, but that's more advanced. So for the time being, just know that if you have to pass it down to each level that to get to the place where we eventually need it. Okay, so I'm here in character. And let's, inside our function, let's create a new function. Inside the function, it's functionception. We're going to call this handle. Here, no. I'm going to call it handle click. And when it is invoked, I want it to run set saying, and I want to pass it a string that says Rick Sanchez is from Earth C-137. And given the time, I am going to just do it without asking somebody else to show how to do it. So I'm going to use a string literal. I'm going to put dollar or dot name and is from I believe it's character.origin.name. Let me just have a quick look. Character.origin.name. Great. All right. Super. So now that I've got this function, I need to invoke it. How do I invoke it? I'm going to want to put a handler on the image because I want this to occur. So I'm going to put an on click. On click equals handle. All right, and I've done something wrong. Oh, I've put it in the wrong type of quotes, or you know what I mean. Super. Okay. So is this going to work now? Oh, actually, Morty's from the same dimension as Rick. Awesome. Awesome. So my app now works, a fully functional React app. There's one more thing that I've been asked to show you today. So I'm going to do it now. I've not had a lot of direct experience with this, but I did play around with it earlier, and that is React Storybook. Okay, and this is actually pretty cool. This is a way to implement your components outside of the app that they're in, so that you can investigate the or test or have a look at the way the component works in isolation. So let me show you what we need to do. All we need to do is run npx sb init. So let's do that. I'm just going to create another terminal. Okay, and we're going to run npx sb init. And it's going to do a bunch of stuff. Eventually, there we go. So this is actually altering quite a few bits of the app. So you'll notice that it wrote a .storybook folder. We don't normally need to go into there though. We've also got this folder called stories. And at some point when this is done, okay. Perfect. Okay. So you can actually have a look to see, and it's actually added everything that it needs to run. It's even added its own scripts. So let's run this npm script that it's added. Don't worry about build for the time being, but let's just run Storybook. And what this is doing is, oh yes, it is creating basically a web page. This web page lives here at localhost 6007. And not only is this really cool and we can add our own components to here, but it even has some examples. So for instance, here's a button component, and you can write docs if you want for this component. Tell everybody everything they need to know about this component when they use it within your app. And here it is just rendered in the page. So all of these files that you see here have been added to stories. Now, we're going to add our own story, so we don't actually need all of this. I'm going to leave it in though, just so you can refer to it later when I save this to GitHub. So let me create a new file, and I'm going to say, call it, if I can spell, character.stories.jsx. And VS Code recognizes that this is going to be a storybook file. So it's not actually all that difficult to create a story. So all we need to do is we're going to import and we've got to give it the, so we have to go out a level, so .. slash components slash character. So I've imported it, and I'm also going to import Oh, hold on. It's one of these weird ones. It's at Storybook. All right. Yep. So Storybook isn't just a React tool. It also works with other frameworks such as Angular and Vue. But we're going to use the version here. So, okay. So how do I use Storybook? Well, what you do is you render a new version of your component and you pass it data directly. So unlike in our app where we're passing it as props, we're going to create our own props and send it in. So let me give you an example of how to do that. So I just const, nope, hold on. So we'll create a const. I'm going to say sample character. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sneaky. And I'm just going to borrow one of the characters that I've already rendered. So let's go into our data.json. And I'm going to just choose, sure, antenna Morty, why not? So I'm just copying that and I'm going to come back to the Storybook and I'm going to say Control V. No, hold on. I did something wrong. I obviously have forgotten how to copy and paste. There we go, 18 to there. Okay, perfect. Let's just get rid of that. It's extraneous. Perfect. So I now have a sample character. Now all I need to do is render my component. So I actually have to do it in a special way. I can use this to wrap. So I say stories of, and that's a function that I've imported above. And I'm going to give it a string. And I'm going to say character component. And then I pass it, comma, a module. So this is a little bit weird because I'm not importing module anywhere up here. But if you have a look at the Storybook API, it'll tell you. So now that I've run this, I actually need to run, make a story. This is the base of my story, but now I need to add, well, how do I render this? So I need to put a .add, and inside here, I'm going to give another string, proper props, sure, why not? And then I just pass in a callback. Character, and then we can say once again, I'm using character. And hold on, I've got to do this. And sample character. All right, so let's go and have a look. And there it is. So if I click here, you can see that this component has been rendered. Set saying it's not a function. So I would have to actually hook up the set saying. Let's just refresh. So under here, actions, this is where you intercept any action. So I have a click handler, but it's expecting a prop that's a function that will fire when it's clicked. So let's have a look at how we set our character up under list of characters. So we need to have a character. We need to have something called set saying, and we also need to have a child. So let's do set saying. So just to fix this, we're going to come up here and create a function. Actually, let's do it this way. And all I'm going to do is a quick console.log. So I am now changing what set saying does here in the app itself, because this is separate from the app, right? Does this component know what set saying does? No, it doesn't. It just knows it fires this and sends along this string. So let me finish this up. Console log.boom. So then I need to say set saying equals so let's go back and there's something I can do here. Well, it's not crashing anymore, and that's the good thing. But there is a way for it to show up. Again, it's not something I've used very much in the past. It is an excellent tool, and I understand that there are some of the exercises that you've been given that use Storybook. Okay. Wow, I can't believe I went through all of that in one lesson. Are there any questions before I send you off to the four winds? I really enjoyed this class. It's one of the most interactive ones we've had. I like it. I hope I didn't embarrass anybody. I don't mind calling on people, obviously. All right, awesome. So it looks like there's more React next week. So that'll be exciting. Hopefully you have a better idea of how the flow in a React app works. If something occurs to you afterwards and you have a question, feel free to Slack me and I will answer. Okay? You guys are the best class I've ever had.
Shucks.
I might be saying that because none of my other classes are here, but still. All right.
Thanks, John.
Have a great week.
Yeah,
See you next.
see ya.
Yeah, thanks very much.
See you next week. Okay.
All right, see ya.
Bye.